right. Load in the Loop is sponsored by Blackfire.io. Hello, I'm Eric Hileman, CEO and co-founder of Magento Hosting in New York City. The purpose of this program is to take some of what we've learned from over 10 years of Magento-specific hosting and evaluate one of our customers' stores. We'll share with you what we find in hopes that it may improve your Magento skills and the performance of your Magento stores. Along with me on this trip is my co-host, Ivan.
Hello, my name is ivan.chepurnyi. I'm an independent technical consultant from the Netherlands. I help merchants, I help solution partners, and apparently I also help sometimes extension vendors to get their extension performance on a good level. So, Eric, tell us about the merchant.
eTech parts. So they've had some issues that I think they fixed some of them. They did push a code release. We can't quite put our fingers on it. It's one of those situations where the customer will write in and be like, it's running a little bit slow. And we'll look at it and maybe we'll see things are slow and maybe we won't. We think there's probably some database operations that are locking up, which we may or may not catch on this. But I think in general, we can take a look at it and probably see at least the surface, the tip of the icebergs that could be causing those performance issues that come up later. It looks like they're doing phone repairs and like phone parts. It looks like. So have you ever repaired your own phone screen? Like done any like really crazy like iPad or?
Yeah, I actually replaced the screen on my Nexus, Google Nexus. It was like 4-5 years ago. Like I had this big Nexus device from Google. I think it was Nexus S or something like that. Or no, not Nexus S. Another one after that one. 6P.
That's one of their tablets,
6P.
right? One of their early tablets.
Phablets. How
a
phablet,
right? Yeah. The fat. Oh man, God! Jordan, edit that out, or YouTube's gonna block us, or just beep it out. Yeah, fat tablet.
Yeah. Phablet. It's like phone tablet, you know. So I had replaced the screen myself. So I ordered one replacement screen on Amazon. I ordered some tools that I fix it, and then I was able to do it. But now I have this Galaxy S10.
Oh yeah,
and now I just send it over for repair because first of all there's a lot of sealed parts that allow you to have waterproof system. So if you break a screen, it's better to have a technician that has all the right tools, have all the heat pipes and so on, that they can not hit guns in order to be able to do it properly and then seal it back.
Yeah, release the adhesive and seal it back. Yeah. Check this out.
Wow.
Have you seen these? The Galaxy Fold? Now look at this, dude. I don't know if you can see this on here, but already I've got some dead pixels. See it right there in the center? Right where the hinge is.
It's just crazy.
It's 2 weeks old, and well, no, it's like 3 weeks. But so I'm gonna have to send this and get this repaired.
But I think it just was never stress tested properly, the device before it hit the market. So
I love it, by the way. Problem. I think folding screens are the future.
Idea is great. And,
it's like having a phablet in my pocket. It's in my back pocket, and so let's see what these guys have going on. It looks like they're doing a lot of the tech parts. Yeah, it looks like you can probably submit your phones and stuff for. Yeah, they have a.
Once I had in the Netherlands, I had a customer who also does a lot of repairs, and they're called Replace Direct or something like that. As far as I remember, I was doing a training for their development team in-house. So they had a development team of Magento developers in-house in the Netherlands, and I was coming to them and was giving them Magento development training. So it was quite interesting experience. And then I actually got lucky and I got my screen replaced that had a crack
for
very low price. For very low price, just for the
awesome
price
parts.
of the parts, you know.
Yeah, sweet.
Because when you usually go to a repair shop, you know, like, yeah, the part is usually quite cheap, right? The most money you pay actually for the work that people do. So that was quite nice experience. Okay, so let's profile a homepage. And from the looks of it, it looks a little bit slow. You know, it takes some time to get it running, right? So let's see what it shows us. Probably, I think we will find something about this product sliders. Probably we will see some issues around there because usually it's common issues that happen. So 102 requests, not too bad, I can tell, but HTTP time it seems a little bit too much.
It's calling out.
You see?
It's calling out.
Let's right away take a look at the HTTP calls itself, because this one looks interesting. What? What is tinify?
Whoa, 680, 700, 1.8. Tinify shrink? What the heck? Hold on. Pull that out in the browser. What is tinify shrink?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, whoa. Was that a panda eating bamboo?
It's TinyPNG. Have you heard about this service, TinyPNG?
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. Tell us about it.
So TinyPNG, it's they kind of created the possibility to compress your JPEG output to have a very high quality looking pictures with a very good compression. So they have very good results. Like, you can also achieve the same by just using Mozilla JPEG, but unfortunately Mozilla JPEG is not available by default in majority of the systems, and usually you just end up with using just standard JPEG libraries that is very bad at compressing JPEG output. So
what do you recommend merchants do? Like we've talked about WebP, and I think Yuriho has a WebP extension. Like what's the definitive optimization technique for images for customers? Is there one? Like what?
The best one is actually floated somewhere. Let's say use CDN for that.
And a lot of let CDNs, the CDN optimize. Okay.
Yeah, for instance, Fastly supports very good image optimization. Also, Cloudflare supports image optimization too. So
yeah,
those are,
you know, Cloudfront doesn't. Like CloudFront, Akamai,
Cloudflare.
Azure. Yeah, so you got to go to like outside of the cloud providers CDN, like Fastly, Cloudflare. Those are probably the two most popular. Section.io
or you can just set up an own small container that will resize images for you by URL. The main thing, just build a small container that does it for you with the right codecs, because usually the standard setups of PHP, actually resizing images in PHP is already a bad idea, because it's going to be very terrible compression.
I've seen some hosts have command line utilities that'll go through, scan your images, and optimize and resize them.
Yes. The problem is that those command line utilities, they don't do it per product variant. So let's say when you render a picture in Magento, only then you can know about the actual final variant. I already have some project in works, open source project in works for image resizing. I even wrote one that is not
why am I not surprised?
Yeah, so I already have a server in PHP that is kind of asynchronous application that accepts HTTP requests, and by
Not in
URL,
Rust? I really thought it would have been in Rust.
For now it's in PHP, but I'm working on open source solution in Rust. So
there it is.
Here you
Boom.
go. Yeah. And how it works, it works in the same way as Fastly does or Cloudflare does. It just takes a URL, and from URL it tries to take out the parameters, what the final size of the picture should be, and then it actually uses ImageMagick in PHP right now, but I'm working on Rust solutions that actually will do it in Rust itself. However, this project is a little bit blocked in Rust because I still don't see a ported Mozilla JPEG library to Rust. As soon as it gets ported, it's going to be just a breeze to implement. The basic idea of PHP application actually is that right now Magento resizes image one by one as soon as it encounters it. You know, like it doesn't do it.
I know.
Batch. And what I do, I just accept, let's say, requests, from thousands of customers. So thousands of customers request different images, and some of them request the same images, right? So I can collect those images, let's say, every 30 milliseconds. I can create a job in a background and say, hey, I'm gonna resize these images to these sizes. I can send the command to ImageMagick, and ImageMagick will produce for me a resized version of those images. And that one runs as a separate application that just accepts HTTP requests. And on the next call, it actually materializes a file. So as soon as the file exists, Nginx just gives away the file itself. If file doesn't exist, only in that case it will make an HTTP call to the service. So it's kind of simple, however quite performance solution, because I shaved off a lot of TTFB from the Magento page itself.
We should talk more about that. That sounds something cool that we could maybe put into Stratus.
Yeah, it's something that definitely would be interesting for you. But what I see here, like...
Yeah, what's going on here?
There is some kind of weird shenanigans happening with this service. So this service, first of all, it's very slow, as you see.
Yeah, like it's so slow. Is that really providing any benefits? I'm not quite clear on how this is working. So it was called out from PHP. So Magento was generating an. I don't know. I'm kind of confused how this is.
So it's definitely something related to the images. So definitely. Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah. Pull that up. That's it. So it did.
So, what I can tell you for sure, the biggest problem here, first of all, that they just don't include this image right away themselves, because it looks like you can just get this image, right? And so this is probably, where is it? Huh, I even don't...
It's in a slider, maybe, that...
Sign up now? Okay, so probably it's...
Oh, wait, a sign up now? That's a pop-up. Is that a newsletter pop-up? Like maybe a when you go to exit or...
Oh, here it is. Somehow. Okay, so it changes. Yeah, it changes with... Yeah, so this is a slider. Definitely this is a slider, yeah. So here, when you are here on this page, you see that this is probably gets saved somewhere on the web page itself, right? Mage store banner slider. Okay.
Banner slider. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm confused by that because that's.
Yeah. So let's just take a look at the actual source where this curl exec actually gets executed, right? Let's see. Tinify client. Okay. Tinify source to buffer. Process from buffer. So this is some kind of integration. Probably Tinify provides some kind of integration for Magento. Let's see. So it's image resizer, right? Resize media by URL. Okay. Basic resizer resize. Okay, so here's where most of the time is spent, as you see, because first of all, there is a lot of time spent on I/O, and apart from that, because of large data size, it also spends a lot of time on CPU in order to process image, right? That gets taken out. So it takes at least 67% of the total page load time, as you see here.
Why is that doing that on every request? Because we're certainly not the first request to this page. Like, why?
Probably, probably just to do it. I actually don't have an idea why. So it's a good question. First of all, why it's doing it on the front end at all?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if let's say you want to generate the different size of pictures, you can do it in background as well. So you don't need to do it on render operation. So,
and if you do it on render, I would think you'd only need to do it once. Like, why over and over? Like optimizing over and over and over and over and over is like not optimizing.
Yeah, so first of all, it shouldn't happen on render of the page in Magento. So you could create some kind of an endpoint in your server that will accept HTTP request and will asynchronously, provide you a resized image. But you shouldn't do it during the render process of Magento, because render process of Magento should just delegate resize operation somewhere else.
Yeah, and if you do the render operation, like that's not going to get cached to CloudFront, because if that's happening in PHP, it's.
And take a look here as well. There's also a used resize through image magic. So
that is weird.
Template picture. It seems like it's using some kind of cache, but looks like this cache doesn't work. So probably maybe it's even disabled. Maybe they have a cache in mind. Over there, you see?
Yeah, it's a function load cache.
But it also could be a standard Magento block cache. Yeah, it's probably standard Magento block cache. We just see it because it just triggers to HTML here. Yeah, it's probably not a part of the functionality. Okay. So this is a huge performance gain. Just move it outside of your render process, and you definitely can shave off a lot of time over there. So the good thing is that product images are not affecting this resize operation. So it's only related to the banners, probably because the banners are uploaded as a huge images, and in order to optimize the performance of this page, right, in the browser itself, so front-end performance, to optimize it, probably for that specific reason they actually using this service in order to minimize the size of the picture. So if we, let's say, take a look at the final resized version of the picture, right? This one. If we take a look at this network overhead that is used by this picture, let's take a look. So you see the size of this picture?
So did they resize it locally using local functions, or did they actually send this image over to tinify or whatever it is, and then tinify sent it back?
Yeah, just wait a moment. Let me. I think the thing is that they just do it as you say. Yeah, so the final size of the picture is 58.7 kilobytes, right? So it's quite small for PNG, right? However, probably JPEG would be much better here, because probably it would compress. Well, let's just try it out. Online WebP. Enter URL. So this is the size.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like they sent the image over and then this sent it back.
Yeah, so WebP image is already at least 10 kilobytes off, you know. So probably there is no need at all in this tiny PNG service, because the already resized picture is much more smaller, right? Okay, let's go on to another issue, right?
Okay.
Let's take a look at category page, shall we? Let's go into, yeah, let's take a look at my phone. Replace ports. Wow, that's quite expensive. Digitizer assembly. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like 1/3 of my phone price. It's just on the screen.
I know. I had insurance on my last iPhone, and when I added up all the payments plus my deductible when I used it, which I had a problem right after the 2-year warranty, as always happens, and then the value of the phone I got back, I was like, you know what, this doesn't make any sense. I should have just you could have saved the money, kept your deductible, and just bought the part and replaced it yourself, or had someone do it. And the value of the phone. And that particular insurance plan was bad because the phone I got back said remanufactured by Assurion. It wasn't even like a genuine iPhone, so the value of it was even lower. But on this new phone, I did get insurance because it's like a $2,000 phone. So at that point, I'm like, yeah, this probably makes sense. But the parts, yeah, when you look at the parts, they're really expensive for the newer phones.
All through, the actual screen itself is not that expensive, technically, you know, from point of view of manufacturing process.
Is it the digitizer assembly on the screen? Like, can you just get the screen without the digitizer, or you have to get them together?
It just the prices set by manufacturers on the final part that you can install. You know, the manufacturing process itself is very cheap, you know, like.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's not rocket science, you know, like those screens are always there for a long time.
So these are like Samsung OEM parts and not like third party.
Yeah, and I think you cannot have OEM parting, right? OEM, yeah, I think you cannot have third party parts, right, for these phones. I think I wouldn't recommend server-body parts because probably they will have some problems. Okay, so we have category page, and here is an interesting question. What's happening here, because it looks like a lot of things are getting loaded in a loop. So first thing is web circle show subcategory, and here is some load in loop we see when there is some kind of extension called eTech product stock alert observer override alert observer, and they perform a load in a loop of a product within a collection. So they have collection of products and they load every single product separately. Let's see, what is eTech? Is it an extension provider? Oh, sorry. It's eTech.
No, I think
it's actually the customer.
Product stock alerter. I wonder if that's a push notification thing.
Oh my goodness, Windows again reminds me that it wants to restart now. No, wait another hour. Hope it works. Okay, so here it tells override BSS product stock alert observer. Yeah, definitely a load in a loop, and let them take a look at it. So I don't have an access to the code to tell what's the problem over there, but from the looks of it, looks like it just loops over a collection and just loads a product for some reason. Maybe they need to access some attribute, but let's say if they need to add an attribute to a collection, they can just use a use in product listing as a flag for product attribute that they want to include into collection, and then they can access it from collection product itself, not by loading product separately. So there's no need to load the product separately, whatever you're doing. This is one thing. And let's see, what else do we have here? So this is a small part. Then we have a category list. So this one takes quite a big chunk of process, and there is some kind of icon renderer. So what is Eighteentech? Is it the previous name of the company, or just Eighteentech? So looks like categoriesside. So it looks like a custom module, yeah. And then we have some render icon being called, and this render icon is doing a lot of I/O stuff. So looks like this getPassFrom method has some performance issue. Maybe it makes sense to take a look at it. I cannot tell for sure what's the problem there, but looks like as they access all the modules or module files, module dependency, get files. Yeah, so they do some directory search on every single item, so it doesn't make sense. Probably some saving over there right here. So you see here 1.5 seconds, here 2 seconds. This is relative seconds, right? It's not the exact one, but still it's a good indication. And looks like we have amasty here as well.
Oh, no surprise there. Wouldn't be a show without an amasty extension.
Yeah, so here we have product image, hash file. What?
I saw that
That's crazy.
tinify thing in there somewhere where you wrote over. I saw it. There it is.
Oh my goodness. So tinify Magento. So this is probably an extension that they provide for you. Tinify Magento plugin.
Hey, the marketplace.
They are even on marketplace. Yeah. Just remove it. It's not worse. If it's an extension, just remove it. Because first of all, it sends all your images to a third-party server, and it just eats up all of the bandwidth probably.
That's a free thing? Like, surely that's not free. Like, it says it's free, but what do you do? Subscribe to the service, and then it's like a SaaS service?
I think it has some number of requests free. You know, like it's kind of freemium model where you get some number of requests free, and then you have to pay for additional requests. Otherwise, your website is down because no requests are coming through, right?
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to use it.
What are our friends at Amasty up to?
Sorry?
What are our friends at Amasty up to? That was an SEO rich data.
Yeah, so basically why it shows here a lot of data is spent here. I think what they do here is something that they shouldn't do. We were discussing it before with another JSON based structured data for Google, where on category page you include all the product information to be rendered, and they here include product images, so they access the product URL.
Did you see that the news story about Google, how Google is going to be including shopping results inside SEO search displays? So you're going to see, like, if you're searching for t-shirts, you're actually going to see t-shirt results. And I guess that's coming out of the this JSON product description into pages. So that must be why everybody's really gearing up with these things.
Yeah, but the problem is that Google cannot associate multiple products to the same page. You should specify the final product information only on the final product view. On the category page, you just need to specify links where you can obtain the full product information. So you can create a kind of a category view. They call it carousel structured data, where you specify a list of items you have on this page with the URLs for the full items description. Google just ignores complete data you supply on the category page. It only expects it on the final leaf node. So what is amasty extension doing here is completely redundant and just wastes resources in order to, render this data. Because as we see here, for instance, they probably access some kind of special size of the image that is completely different from the image that is actually used in the category page. And it triggers a lot of stuff because hash file, this is crazy. This is so terrible function because it actually produces a lot of I/O. And I don't know if this customer is using autoscaling.
No, they haven't
Stratus?
been able to, and this might be why. I think it's disabled, and they have problems getting it to run, and this is probably why. This probably isn't in a shared path, and if it is in a shared path, it's going to be not very performant writing over NFS.
Yeah, so the biggest problem then, like these numbers will skyrocket as soon as they have NFS for media files, because images, like this tiny PNG service that is kind of free, it's gonna kill their website because of all the file I/O. I had this with the customer. Actually, they are very happy to share their name on the show. Happy Socks. So this customer, we had some issue with the Fastly module. And in the Fastly module, because they had an NFS share of media files on every single application node, their network drive was completely hammered with Fastly file exist checks and get image size checks, because get image size, for instance, it does the same thing as the hash file does. So it reads complete file in order to obtain what is the current size of the image from the meta description inside of the file header. And here, hash file actually reads complete file every single time you call it. So it's the same thing. Like as soon as you have a network mounted drive, it's gonna kill it.
Dude, I was talking to some Magento core architects, and I was telling them about how important the file system is when you're building a cloud, and they really didn't get it. Like they were like, "What do you mean? Don't you have a CDN? Aren't you PHP? There's an option for the ob cache. Are not? Yeah, are you not revalidating? Like you shouldn't be revalidating op." No, you could do all that, but you're still like Magento is still clawing constantly at the file system. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning that a lot of people don't understand that any single file exists, or a hash file or file get contents, whatever you are using. Every single call, it's a real file system call, and even though we have SSDs right now, a lot of files in cloud infrastructure can go into the network drive. And sometimes people might think like you have elastic file system from Amazon, and they think like
it's just NFS.
Yeah, and they think like it's just a real file system, but in the end, it actually NFS, right?
Yeah.
So
yes, NFS v4. It is. Oh god.
Yeah. So
no, this is a killer.
On the cloud environment, file system is more even important than on a regular bare metal server, because in a bare metal server you can just directly access your hardware, and in the cloud infrastructure it's not guaranteed that this
even bare metal, like when you're, as long as you're one node, it's whatever. But once you go to more than one web node, it's like this becomes a serious concern.
Yeah, I actually plan to. I have a small project in mind to build my own NAS array.
Another project in the stash.
Yeah. Another project in stage, definitely. Okay, so here we solve this problem. So mostly this one I think quite simple to fix. So there is nothing that is completely hard to fix. I think like a good developer can do it in a couple of days. Just uninstall tiny PNG service completely. Just forget about it. Like it's not worth those extra kilobytes that it can save in generating those images, comparing to the price you will pay for actually your hosting, because this just kills scalability, and probably it also consumes a lot of network, because what we saw, like those images is actually getting submitted through HTTP calls to a third-party service to receive back the optimized version in binary. So
yeah, that's a really good find.
Yeah, one thing is sending data outside, and another thing is actually downloading data from a server. As far as I know, like getting traffic into the server is more expensive than getting it out, right?
Yeah, you do pay for ingress. Well, we on Stratus we pay for ingress.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Okay.
And some things that we already know, right? This is some modules that looks into own module version. Let's take a look what it is. It's Fishpig. Yeah. Oh, it's Fishpig WordPress. This is more. This is even more nicer. I will show you a very nice MySQL query that they have. This one I really like. This is one of my favorite in quote marks extensions. Oh, how do I search in Windows? I already forget. Okay. Okay. I don't see it here. Is this weird? Or maybe it's fixed here already. Let's debug this page. So I was on this category page, and Blackfire has a very nice option where you can enable debugging mode, and it allows you to see complete queries with all the data that was sent.
That's nice.
And I think we also can get some interesting information also about HTTP calls as well in debugging.
Well, we've suspected there's been some database queries locking up or building up. So hopefully the one you're thinking of is the culprit.
Yeah, because Fishpig, I saw it that on the front end they actually update configuration table of Magento on every single page. So
doesn't that clear?
That's what
config cache. Would that be blowing out the config cache?
They just directly run a database query. They don't do it through the model. But probably they already have a fixed version, because I remember there was a problem couple of years ago, Magento 2 extension, but here is some kind of pruned arguments. This is crazy. I don't understand what it is.
I don't.
Oh, or maybe it's some kind of internal thing inside of Blackfire where they just accumulate stuff together. So, but yeah, I don't see here an update query. So for now, I only see the standard Magento insert into temporary table that is also slow, but it's not a big problem. Yeah. So as far as I understand, this customer doesn't use ElasticSuite. Yeah.
What's the standard insert into what was that, a search temp?
Yeah, so it's how Magento works with layered navigation. So Magento kind of creates a temporary table for every single category view you have. It creates a temporary table in order to be able to build layered navigation out of that temporary table results. So let's say you have, let's say, a category with 10,000 products, right? And these 10,000 products are going to be taken out by Magento through the search API. Will be found out through the search API, and then Magento takes these 10,000 products and inserts it into temporary table. That is quite slow process if it's 10,000 products assigned to a category page. And then it operates with this temporary table in order to be able to show you filters. Let's say price ranges, sizes, manufacturer, and so.
I think when people hear Smile ElasticSuite, they're thinking, "Oh, that's just search," but really, that's layered navigation because you offload that.
That's the main thing. You know, like search. It doesn't matter. Like, for instance, Happy Socks, for instance, they use ElasticSuite, but for search, they use another service. So.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah.
ElasticSuite is used for front end, for pure category structure, for building your own category views and so on. So this is just good, very good implementation out of the box that this works.
Yeah, you're a huge fan. Anybody who's watched the show,
big fan. I wouldn't say that it's the best solution, but for the price that you pay for it, that is free, it's very good. So, like, if it's free, it's just great. Okay, and basically, I don't see anything else here. So basically, I think we found all the issues on the category page.
All right, let's go to the product.
Let's go on in product. Yeah, let's see if product page gonna show us something different. So let's try it up. I hope I recorded. Yeah, everything is recording. Just in case. With all those requests to restart my PC from Windows, I already naturing everything, I really like Ubuntu so much, like
I love it.
So much better than a couple of years ago, like
it's so good.
5 years ago. Yeah, nowadays, like, NVIDIA has the best graphics support, so you can build a lot of stuff through CUDA APIs, like in Linux.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a fan of gaming, all of the Windows games, majority of them actually supported on Linux.
Oh no! I didn't know that. That's cool. I'm not a gamer.
If you use, let's say, Steam service, Steam.
Yeah, sure.
And Steam has developed a port of Wine called Proton. And you can just tick a checkbox on any Windows game in Steam and try to run it with Proton, and majority of them just works.
That's pretty cool.
So,
wish I could get Photoshop to run in Wine. That's one of my.
That was my idea. Like, it's maybe I should try to port their Proton project to run actually Adobe products.
Come on, Adobe, give us some Linux support. We're dying.
Yeah, because for now, yes, the only reason why I would need ever to use Windows is when I need to use something for video editing.
Video.
Let's say
I'll do photo editing in a
graphics.
virtual machine. Yeah, I'll do like Photoshop in a virtual machine if I have to, rather than reboot. But video editing, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
do that.
Video editing, you need GPU acceleration and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we are on product page. It's not that bad. And there is no HTTP calls. Where's timeline view? Yeah, 134. It's not. It's not the best number of database queries, but it's good enough. So this
It's a
is
lot better than we usually see.
Yeah, it's a lot better than we usually see, definitely. So here we have some highlights that Blackfire gives us, but there is not much of the issues I see here. And it's 2.38. So yeah, it's a little bit a lot. And what I can see definitely is that they don't have composer after load optimized. So this is something that they can definitely take a look at. So after you generate compiled Magento classes, you need to generate an optimized composer after loader class map. Then composer will not look into your file system, will not run any file exist calls. So here's another question back to your mention of your conversations with Magento engineers concerning file system. So majority of Magento setups I see in production don't optimize composer after load. So for them, file system is a huge problem because every single class instantiation will trigger a file exist call in a file system that is very expensive.
Yeah.
And when you have thousands of classes, like it's just not scalable. So you always need to optimize composer after load as well. It's required for you to handcraft it for every single project. So it's good if you create your own composer after load class map exclusion rules. So exclude the test files, exclude the setup files, everything that you are not going to include inside of your production application that is running. Exclude those files. Also run composer install with -- nodev on production. This is also very important because nodev will make sure that you don't have all those test frameworks, all those other stuff be included into your composer class map. Because the test framework...
I suspect very few people do.
Yeah, so deployment process is very important for performance optimization as well. Just recently, I had a project where the guys, a solution partner, asked me to optimize performance of their build before they actually start doing development. They just asked me, hey, we just imported our customer data from Magento 1 to Magento 2. We just migrated everything. We just have the standard Lumazine with some modules we installed, and they asked me to review a store, and I just reviewed it. I installed a bunch of my core optimization modules, and I changed their deployment pipeline because they have automated deployment, and I modified their script in order to make sure that everything is according to the best practices from point of view of deployment. So we have a completely separate compilation step. We have then optimized afterload generation. We don't install any development dependencies during deployment to production, and so on. So all of that stuff worked, and we achieved very good results, like sometimes even less than 100 milliseconds on homepage. So
yeah, there's a lot of fat to trim.
Yeah. So yeah, we removed a lot of stuff that they're not going to use from standard Magento edition. So kind of trim down Magento version, and that's what I recommend to everyone. When you start a new build, make sure that you remove everything that you are not going to use. Just use this composer replace hack that allows you to say, hey, I'm not going to use this payment extension, so I don't want to get JavaScript file from that payment extension being deployed into my static directory.
Yeah, dude, there's been a lot of talk about that, about what can you actually trim out that doesn't have its hooks in terms of extensions that come in the core. Is there a good project that you would recommend for people to use for that?
Yeah, so the problem with that one, like, for every single merchant, it's different scenario. So some people use Braintree, some people use only PayPal, some people use authorize.net, some people, let's say, use a bunch of different PSPs. So you cannot create kind of works for all template, right? You have to do it for every single project yourself. So you need to sit down with the merchant and actually ask what kind of functionalities you are planning to use from the standard set of functionalities. Because sometimes, let's say, if we talk about Magento Commerce merchants, Magento Commerce merchants also do not use majority of Magento Commerce functionality. A lot of them say, hey, we are not using, let's say, catalog permissions. And catalog permissions add a lot of performance hit for a front end. So let's say if we can disable it for Magento Commerce customers, I'm so happy, because I don't need to go on and optimize their specific use case of usage of catalog permissions. Or let's say if I can remove that and that and that and that module, that's so much relief from point of view of server resources usage. So Magento Commerce has a lot of nice functionalities, but you need to also make sure that you just don't leave them all enabled. You need to decide
don't leave
what
them
you
all enabled. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, man. There's a lot of great functionality. Just don't make sure you leave it all enabled. My other favorite one is extensions, or the cause of and solution to all of Magento's problems. There's no shortage of functionality, but yeah, trim the fat. That's good advice.
Yeah, just like you know, like with Linux distros, you know, like you have Alpine that is very minimal, right? If you build your Docker image, you would better base of Alpine, because it's trimmed down, it only has stuff you need. Yeah. And if you build a Docker container, like if your Docker container has a bunch of different applications installed on it and used for it, like it's not a good Docker build, because usually your Docker container should be one single entry point that runs in foreground, right?
Yeah,
You can have Nginx, MySQL, PHP, everything in a single Docker container. You should... it just defies the purpose of the Docker container. The same thing happens, you know, with Magento as well. You don't need to have every single module that is available to be in your Magento instance. You better just uncomment removal of that module later. It will install all the required database tables, all the required data it needs. Just don't enable during the initial project build. Just trim it down. Make sure that you just have the tiniest Magento edition possible, you know?
Yep. For sure. All right. Any final thoughts, parting words?
Yeah, so basically, I think here we have pretty clear picture. So there is stuff that they can work on. Maybe we can try just to quickly test out the add to cart process, right?
Sure.
So let's just profile everything. Let's just add to cart. Stuff added to cart. It loads customer section load only once. It's a good sign. Let's go to checkout. Oh, what?
You have to create an account.
Okay.
I guess that's why it only loads customer section once, because they're making you log in.
I don't know how to write my own last name. That's crazy. Okay, let's use some random password. You can stop the video and find my password for this merchant. I don't mind. There's no personal information over here, so That's cool.
Do you like LastPass over 1Password?
It's just something that works for me because I have it on my phone. I have it on every single device I have, and it just works, So
I'm a 1Password user.
I didn't
always wondered like what's the difference between the two.
I think there should be not much difference because they're competing, so they should be on pair, right, with the functionality set.
Yeah.
So okay, adding to the shopping cart seems not too bad. So, and I don't expect that they gonna have bad performance of adding to cart because they have simple products, right? Mostly. And here, let's see. Let's see customer section load as well. This one probably is a little bit more interesting. So this one actually I don't like in Braintree extension. So why do you need to get a client token when you actually just load a shopping cart through a mini cart? Like, do you have any mini cart pay now button? No, right? Mm-hmm. Why do you need it? So it just doesn't make any sense for me. Oh, I didn't actually profile the checkout page itself. Let's just, for the sake of completeness. Also, did I disable aggregation or not? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd really like to see them get that option in there to stick it.
Yeah. So here it is. You see the Braintree. It's customer section load still, and let me just run a checkout profile real quick, and let me go back to the profiles in our load in a loop organization. So let's see. What is social login?
That's the Facebook thing, probably.
Oh yeah, that's the one related to creating a customer, right?
Yeah.
And this one, interesting. TCP socket SSL, yeah. What? Oh no. No. This is bad.
What is?
Because when I was creating a customer account, it was actually sending an email right away. So basically, I can DDoS this merchant. Don't do it, people who are watching this video.
Yeah.
By just supplying non-existing email addresses during the registration process, and it will just time out SMTP calls because it does it right away, and it will deplete FPM pool of the merchant. So never send an email right away in the same place where you actually create an account. Always send emails in the background. Never do it in the foreground. And here's this Magepal Gmail SMTP application does exactly that. It does it in the foreground. So Magepal is probably a plugin, and Magento, you already have a possibility to send asynchronously emails. You just enable this option in configuration, and Magento creates an entry in email queue table, and then during the cron job it will just grab all the emails together and send them in a batch. And here there is, oh, it's actually interesting. Take a look at the functionality that actually gets me an email being sent. It sends me an email of unsubscription. However, I've never subscribed to anything.
Unsubscribe by customer ID. What?
Yeah.
Was there a box on there to receive promotions, and then because you didn't check it, it like unsubscribed you after?
And also, I'm getting added onto the MailChimp list, right? Did I click? Oh, we can see it in a video. Did they click I want to subscribe or not? Because
yeah, kind of strange it would unsubscribe you after the fact.
Yeah, so... And
I've always personally hated that. I don't think you should be like opted in, that whole mentality of store owners like opting everybody in and then sending you a bunch of
But here I see during the customer save, there's happening a lot of email saving that actually really slowing down the whole page load time, because like 5 seconds just to send emails. You see it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these emails, as we see, are very, very, very expensive IO-wise. So, okay, the checkout page. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, quite a lot of database queries, I can say. And again, hello Braintree. So many HTTP calls.
Oh, wait, go into the sandbox. Why would a live store be going to the sandbox?
Maybe they don't use Braintree, but Braintree extension is still there. You know?
Oh, no. It's, yep.
So let's take a look here. So yeah, they use standard PayPal, I think. Payment method. Where is the payment method code itself? PayPal Express. So they're not using Braintree.
So by default, Braintree is on and like making that sandbox call? Like, is that a default credential in there, or are they?
I think because Braintree and PayPal are on the same configuration page, because you know PayPal owns Braintree, right? Probably it just how the form is built, and because Braintree extension is enabled and installed, it just knows about PayPal merchant reference, and it does all the calls but to the sandbox, because probably the Braintree configuration is collapsed with the default settings of sandbox.
Yeah, and people have talked before about like they try to disable one extension but then lose functionality in another. That I would imagine if you try to disable Braintree, you'd probably lose PayPal. They're probably so tightly linked.
Yeah, but it's not something that I really like in...
No. Why could you blank those fields out and save it, and then it wouldn't make those calls out? Like if it didn't have...
And this is a bundled extension, right? It's Magento Braintree.
It's bundled. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so here we see, for instance, the PayPal Express configuration. So this is very slim and small, but Braintree just does a bunch of HTTP calls. So I think it's not good for Braintree itself, because right now, every single merchant who has PayPal enabled,
worthless load on their sandbox.
Yeah, just covers development servers, you know, and if Braintree is down, you know, like even through you are not using Braintree, your Magento store is kind of affected, because you know, like, depending on PHP configurations, the socket timeout can be very long.
30 seconds by default. Yeah, at least 30 seconds.
Yeah, and basically it just completely kills your Magento website.
Like, I'm not even using Braintree. Why am I down? Wait, Braintree production's up. Why are we down? Well, no, it's their sandbox is down.
Yeah, and here all comes again, to the quality of extensions, because I don't think that Magento wrote Braintree implementations themselves. They just included the standard extensions that was available, that was built by someone else, and no one took a look or changed the implementation itself. But basically, that's why people strip down your Magento versions, because you don't know what kind of functionality can get invoked over there.
And the sandbox isn't going to have the same uptime as production either. So
it's just if you don't use Braintree, just compose or replace Braintree with star, and this module is never going to be included into your front-end rendering process.
I suspect, though, you would still. I would not be surprised if you could not disable Braintree and still have PayPal work. I would not be surprised if they were that linked.
No, it's kind of. I know customers that do it.
That have done it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because Braintree has a separate set of APIs.
Okay.
But as soon as you visit the same payment method page, because the forms are kind of connected, you can occasionally just by mistake have Braintree enabled. So
I'm gonna ask the solution partner about this one to see if they were testing it or did something with it, or if this is actually how it comes by default. Do you know? Like, is that a default thing that you've seen elsewhere? Or do you think they were?
I think it could be just that the merge. Oh, again, get Windows notification, and it's terrifying because it always tries to put me to restart my computer.
I saw it. I don't think the viewers will see it, but I saw it. It's your 1 hour timer.
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good interrupter. So to tell,
kind of is. Yeah.
Guys, stop with recording. Just finish the episode.
We should wrap it up. Actually, I do have a call in 10 minutes. We probably should wrap it up.
Yeah. So basically, I've seen before issues with Braintree extension, and the ones that we see here is not that bad. But there is also another Braintree extension that is available to install through a marketplace that is not bundled. So because this is a bundled extension, but there is also not bundled extension that has even more issues with performance. So
wow. Okay.
And that one is actually official from Braintree.
All right. Well, lots of good finds on this episode. I did take some show notes. I don't know how good they'll be, but I'll pass them to our editor and have him link them up.
I'm just feeling a little bit, tired because I had very crazy weeks. I travel to every single customer beginning of the year because we all making plans for the coming year to create a roadmap of performance fixes and so on. So
budgets, planning.
Yeah, and I'm just a little bit exhausted. So I maybe not that entertaining this stream. But
you talked a little slow in the beginning, but I figured that I don't know how much you talk in English, but you picked up really quickly, so it was good.
Yeah, but it just takes a lot of my energy right now to go from one place to another and so on. So okay, was nice having this episode being recorded. I hope Jordan will have fun to edit it out.
Yeah, he's gonna have to bleep some of my words so YouTube doesn't take us down for profanity.
I don't remember you had any kind of bad words, but we will see.
There was one for sure. I think I caught the second. I don't know.
Okay, so Jordan needs to submit it for automatic transcription and see how machine learning algorithm will find out which words we were speaking and then we can search for some irregularities in the transcript and see if all works good. But
all right. Well, thanks again to Blackfire for sponsoring this episode and all the episodes. And you can Twitter, you can hit us up at Load in the Loop and litl@magemojo.com. And Ivan, how can people reach you?
In the same way. So
your name, Twitter, and we'll link that up in the show notes as well. So if you have any questions or want to get on the show, hit us up.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning in, and till the next episode. Bye bye.